Hi, hello. It's your host, Zack Lyman, and this is the Zack Lyman Podcast, and I'm excited. I have a great episode for you today. My guest is Cam Kiernan. She's a wonderful actor, comedian, and clown. You may have seen her in the TV show The Big Laugh on Amazon Prime or in commercials, large national commercials on your TV. So, wonderful episode. Had a great talk with her, and we'll get to that in a moment. I just want to say thank you for tuning in and subscribing to the YouTube channel where you can watch this, or Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts. I appreciate that. So thank you so much. And I'm on the road a lot right now doing comedy, stand-up comedy around the country. And you can check out my tour dates on ZackLymanPodcast.com. I've been updating that. And May 22nd, I'll be in Arizona filming my comedy special. So please check out the dates, see if I'm coming to a town near you. And May 22nd in Arizona, please check out. Please come to the comedy special taping. I would really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the show. And I'm so excited for this new season. But now let's just get into the episode with my wonderful guest, Cam Kiernan. Like, I've known you as a comedian for a good amount of time now.
Yeah.
And I've seen you do comedy a bunch. And then when did you start moving towards the acting side of things?
I started doing acting stuff. It's something I've always been interested in. Like, it was something that I felt like I never really had like the permission to do until I moved to New York and I started taking acting classes, and it started to become like a real possibility of like, oh, I could actually do this and I could actually like make some money from this, and maybe I'm good at it. But before that, I had done like some plays in high school, did some plays in college and stuff like that. I did like a short film in high school, just like things that like my friends were doing, but nothing like serious until I moved to New York.
Okay, so when you moved to New York, you're like, this is something that I want to try out, this, or something I want to get more involved with, and now here you are. Like, now I know that like recently you've done like some cool stuff in the creative world, and one of the cool things is like you recently did a commercial that was pretty big.
I did.
That I enjoyed. I thought it was cool. I saw you posted it on Instagram, and I was like, that's dope. So
yeah, I just did my first national commercial. It's the second commercial that I've done. This one, the first one, no idea what happened with it, but I filmed it and they paid me. And it was really exciting, and now this is the most exciting thing that I've done with acting. Is nice. A national commercial with Noom, and it's my face, and I'm talking, and it's playing everywhere, and I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, that is like the interesting thing with like acting, and then also like commercial work where. Like you said, it's like this isn't the first one, but this is the first one that everyone's seeing.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like in stand-ups the same way, where it's like sometimes you like get asked to film something or do something, and then you're like, I never know when that. Like, I've done a podcast that then never came out. Like I've done, and so it's interesting that acting's the same way, where it's like, yeah, you do things and you're like, maybe in 5 years it might pop up, who knows, but it's cool that like now you're like it's a national. I'm big into the idea. I like commercials. I like the idea of commercial work. Mm-hmm. It's totally the type of acting that I would like to do. And I know some actors have like thoughts on commercial. I think it's like ego. Would you say it's like ego, where it's really like, oh, I don't want to do commercials?
Yeah, I think it's like the difference between like an artist and like an artiste, right? People are like, well, I'm an artist, and they're like, I only do theater or whatever. Like, I only do performative, like whatever.
Yeah.
Which is like chill if that's what you're into, and also if you can support yourself that way, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I want something different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I think that commercials are great because for a lot of reasons. Like, number one, I think it's really cool that this commercial is being played all the time right now.
Yeah.
I'm like getting texts from friends across the country, like, I was falling asleep in this hotel and like, there you are.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, I was watching a show I really liked and you interrupted it. But like, so I think that's really cool. I also think it's really cool that like not to be like uncouth, but I think it's really cool that I got paid good money to do it.
Yeah.
And it's something, it's like, that was the first time that I was like, oh, I think if I really put my head down and I really put in the work, I could support myself through performing, through acting, stand up. And that was like a real big shift. That one of the people that I worked with on the commercial, she gave me some really good advice of like, oh, if you are just always doing things for like no money, then like you're never going to be able to like move forward as a career.
Yeah.
And so she really said like, you need to treat it like a job and it'll treat you like a job. Which I think for me was really helpful because like, you know, like I grew up very low income. I went to school for chemistry because like you're supposed to go to school and get a good job so you can have a good life. And like being able to make money from performing and from just being myself on camera was like the first time that I was like, oh, I think this could be a thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think it's so important to, because you know this about me, I'm very like into the idea of like, find what your creative way that you're happy about that makes money and you can live off of, like whatever version of that, like do that, right? Like I'm totally for that because there's not like, especially in like in stand-up, there's not like clear paths anymore. Like not that there was in the past too much, but it used to be like, oh, you do late night, maybe you get a TV show, yada, yada, yada. And now it's just kind of like, who knows? So it's like, there's, you know, you could do clean comedy and maybe you're just a corporate events comedian. And if that makes you happy and it pays your bills, great. You know, and that's, I feel like with like commercial or anything acting or anything creative where it's like, oh, if you find something and you're like, I liked doing this, like, why not keep doing that? And then I really do think like, you got to treat it like a job at some point. You know, like early days, it's kind of like, whatever you can get, you can get it. And then there has to be a turning point.
There has to be a turning point because otherwise it's like, otherwise you're probably just like, I don't know, doing bars across the country for $100 a night.
Yeah.
And like how do you pay rent for that?
Yeah.
You know? How do you even pay for the flight to get across the country if the show's only paying $200?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something, but there is like, of course, that stigma of like, oh, you're only doing commercials, which like, you know, I hope to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm not only ever doing commercials. Hopefully I'm doing maybe stage work, maybe TV film, who knows? But I am curious, like, is there the same sort of stigma with like, in your world of like stand up and stuff of like, oh, you're just a cruise comic. Oh, you're just...
Yeah. I mean, you've seen it where it's like I don't really label myself a clean comic. I just happen to do clean. And I've been in a green room where someone's like, you know what? I hate clean comics. And I'm like, oh no.
They're the worst.
I'm about to do 50 minutes of it. Like, I am so sorry. Like, and it's just like, I don't know, this is what I like to write. This is what I like to do at the moment. And that doesn't mean that like in 10 years, I might be a dirty comic. I might have filthy jokes in 10 years. I don't know. But like right now, I'm enjoying the clean. And so I see the stigma when people are like, when someone goes, well, Zach's a clean comic, ask him. And then they go, ooh, he's a clean comic.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and then I see that with like corporate events or, you know, cruise ship comics. Yeah, it's like comics have different weird stigmas of like, and I think it's a lot just ego, and then also just like so many comics. I was thinking about this weekend. A lot of people, including me, we just want to be cool, right?
Yeah.
You just want to be cool, and you've been told for 30 years that cruise ship comics aren't cool. It's not cool then, but it's kind of cool that you're like on a boat. You're on a vacation that's moving and everyone's having a good time and you get to tell your jokes every night. Like that's like they're like when you really think about it, and also the pay's well, it's like,
dude, the pay is so good.
The pay's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's like all that together, you're like, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. So yeah, there's just stigmas, and I think a lot of it just boils down to like wanting to be cool, want to be whatever's hip in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, like as soon as like comics started wearing hoodies on stage, everyone's like, I gotta wear a hoodie on stage. You know, like it's how a comedy is, or like some comedian pops off and then all of a sudden we're all seeing that version 30,000 times.
Yeah.
So.
And I think right now, like not right now, but I think commercials for actors are like not cool because again, it's like that stigma of like, oh, well, you're not an artist.
Yeah.
You're just, for some people, it's like, you're just shilling a product.
And you're like, yeah.
Which like, for me, it's like, it's been really easy. The things that I've done commercials for are things that I love, right?
Yeah.
Like I did this Noom commercial. I absolutely love Noom. Noom has helped me lose so much weight in such a healthy way. And like, it's just like overall been an amazing experience being able to like use this isn't a Noom commercial, but like to like use the product and then also work with the amazing people there.
Yeah.
And then like have those lasting connections. And then like the other commercial that I did was for A&E Networks, which like love A&E.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, right.
It's a good time.
The shows that they have, so good. I think they did.
We've heard of them.
That one. But like, I don't know. They're not doing bad stuff. But like,
so let me.
Someone's gonna write in.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then, because like you did bring up a good point there of like, so years ago, I stopped drinking years ago.
Okay.
The first 6 months that I quit drinking, a large alcohol company that I like hit me up and was like, we want to pay you a good amount of money to do promo.
Yeah.
So like in that moment, like if you got asked to do a commercial for something that you're like, hey, like an example of like, let's say you don't drink, a drinking commercial, like, how do you feel about that? Are you going to do that? Are you not going to do that?
That's actually a great question because I just, so like I self-submit for a lot of work. That's how I have gotten all of the work that I've gotten so far. I, at the moment, don't have an agent, but like hit me up. And one of them, so I don't eat gluten.
Okay.
One of them was for a chicken commercial and it's like, you have to be able to eat breaded chicken. It was for Tyson, right? And I was like,
how much?
No, but like how much? And for me, it's like, I don't have any moral thing against gluten. So like, I would still do that commercial.
Right.
And like, I'd be like, oh, my tummy hurts for a little bit. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if it was like, what is something I'm morally against? You know, like if it was like a political thing, like I don't want to be associated with like politics, right or left or centric. I just don't want to be associated with it. I could definitely see myself being like, no, I don't care how much they're paying me.
Right.
I'm just not interested.
And I think it's like, you gotta find that ground, because it's like I did think about, you know, like with the alcohol, where it's like I gave it a moment to really think about how do I feel about this as a choice.
Yeah.
And like it really seemed like I didn't really need to drink the alcohol. I just need to be holding a bottle of alcohol is really what it is. And I ended up saying no because I'm like, it's weird for me to be like, all my friends and family know I don't drink.
Yeah.
And then immediately being like, and here's a commercial promoting this thing.
Because then that also, like, you have to be very careful, I think, about what you decide to be associated with. Because then, let's say, like, people see that and they're like, oh, Zach doesn't drink. Zach's promoting all this alcohol stuff. And then, like, later down the line, you're like, oh, I don't know, AG1 cured my gut health.
Yeah.
And people are going to be like, but he also lied about the alcohol thing. So maybe AG1's bad. And you're like, no, it's actually good. It actually helped me.
Yeah, I think the goal is that if I, like, let's say on the podcast, let's say an alcohol sponsored the podcast or whatever, I would have to be like, and this is an ad because I need money. I think I would just have to be very clear of like, hey, everyone knows why I'm about to say these words. And we all love vodka.
Yeah. Big vodka sponsoring Zack Lyman podcast.
Yeah. Like, I'll take the money, but like, we have to be clear.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're kind of like tainting your...
Yeah, I agree.
Your brain. And then it's like... Because that's something I think about because I'm also a clean comic, right? Of like, how do I want to present myself to the world?
Yeah.
And if people see just this one Instagram reel,
right,
like, of me on stage being like, whatever dirty jokes, I'm like, that's not what I want people to know me as.
Yeah.
And so it's always like, what do you want to stand for? And what do you want to, like, you have to be able to stand by everything that you say, I think.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and it is like a career and a job, and it's the decision that I think you kind of brought up some good points of like, it's not just today, but it's like 10 years from now or 5 years from now, or, you know, any time period. And just as like a body of work of like what you've done.
Yeah.
Because there is like, when you start doing stand up, it's like the amount of times early in my career that I did stand up just for chicken wings. Like, they're like, we can pay you in unlimited chicken wings. I'm like,
that's a good deal.
To be honest, I'd probably do it today. But
unlimited?
Yeah, I don't think they know what they're signing up for. They're not ready. But like, you're just doing these gigs that pay. Like, I remember there was in Phoenix, there was like a gig that used to pay in hot dogs, and they had a hot dog cart, and they would just feed the comics, and you're like, yeah, I can do that. I can do 10 minutes and get paid in hot dogs.
The first time I got paid, it was White Claws.
Yeah.
And I was ecstatic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, but then that's got, at some point you got to be like, hey, I really need more than some hot dogs, especially if you're traveling or whatever. But yeah, you know, you got to like treat it like a job. And it's okay. So I guess my question that I want to ask you is also, the question I want to ask you now is, you lived in New York and now here you are in Seattle. Like, what made you do that New York to Seattle move, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah. I'm still kind of getting used to Seattle, to be honest. To be honest, I really loved New York. But like I said, I started acting in New York. I was only in New York for 2 years. And while I was in New York, all of the performance work that I was getting, whether it was like stand-up or acting or what have you, was all outside of the city.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a question of, okay, all the work I'm getting is outside of the city. Why am I paying New York prices if I'm not like really getting a huge benefit from being in New York?
Yeah.
Because the other side of that is like, I was taking acting classes, and I was like going to like clown classes and other performance classes, and it was all really great. But New York is just so expensive that like, and I just never had like a stable day job because, you know, as you can imagine, it's like you get a job and then you're like, well, I'm quitting this job. I got a commercial.
Yeah.
I got something else to do today. You call out too many times. But it's like, I just sort of like realized like, okay, so I'm taking a class and this class is great, but it cost me $600 and I'm going to have to spend another 6 months saving up to take the next class. And so it was like partially financial, of just like, gotta be somewhere that's sustainable. And so being in Seattle, I'm still able to get work. Still able to get like performance stand up or acting work because like I said, like some of the stuff that I've been doing, they're flying me out. And then, but I'm not dealing with like the I don't know, the like financial burden of New York at the moment. So I always hope that I'll go back, but for now, sitting in Seattle, sitting pretty with my family, having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a lot of growth that can happen here. And then also, like, we just talked about commercials a bunch, and they film a lot of commercials in the PNW. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of big brands over here. There's a lot of, still large agencies. Like, you're not, it's not like some states where there's, like, no commercials being filmed. It's definitely, like, still a pretty large area. So that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I love Seattle. I'm loving it here. I think it's beautiful. So, and with comedy, it was funny. I was going to hit you up this weekend because I know you like to host, and I just did a club this weekend that the host canceled, and I was like, man, I would have just had Cam come. It would just, would have been a great time hanging. But yeah, because are you still enjoying hosting? Are you kind of shying away from it at the moment, or?
Yeah, I love, as far as like stand-up comedy goes, I really love hosting. I think it's just like really fun. It's cool to like sort of set the stage of like, this is what we're doing tonight. And, if all goes well, maybe you won't remember me. Maybe everyone, like, I'll set it up so that everyone can do like even better throughout the show. Yeah, I really like it. I just, at the moment, I'm kind of in this place of trying to decide, like, what's my next move?
Yeah.
And, like, is it diving deeper into comedy? Is it diving deeper into acting? Is it, finding something new? Right now, I'm, like, separately, like, kind of really into fitness, trying to, like, get back into, like, the gym and wellness and things like that. So I'm, like, still trying to like keep up my practice of like writing.
Yeah.
But it's not like stand-up's not like my focus at the moment.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, and I think it's for a lot of people, like, that's what I love about stand-up though, is that like it never is truly gone and you can always like go back to it. And that's like a lot of actors, like they get on a TV show, they do that, and then when the TV show is either done or on break or whatever it is, they're like, I can do the road. I can, I can do whatever, from there. So, yeah, and then you mentioned like fitness and journey, and I know like earlier today we were talking about like a lot of content creation around some of that stuff. Like, how are you feeling about like social media, your relationship with social media, and then like making content? Because not only as like an actor, content, right? As a stand-up, you need content. Mm-hmm. As like anything creative these days, it's like everyone's like, but you gotta make you could be a painter and people are like, you gotta make the content.
You gotta make the content.
Yeah. How are you feeling about making the content?
Making the content. It is so hard. I don't know, man.
It's hard.
It like, I feel like, and like, the hardest part is that it's supposed to be really easy. And it's like, maybe I'm old. Maybe my 29 years of life, I'm just old.
That's a young woman's game. Those 19-year-olds out there crushing it.
They are. Yeah, I'm trying to like get more into content. I like have never been into social media. It's just not something that I've ever really like, it never like clicked with me. So like I have an Instagram account, follow my Instagram account.
Okay.
But like, so now I'm trying to like kind of dip my toes into like social media in terms of like TikTok and making short videos and things like that. And like partly I'm like, wouldn't it be nice if I could make money from making content? And then partly just like, I feel like I'm going through this like kind of big change right now.
Yeah.
And I like really wish that I could like document it. And you know, I'm kind of like, again, like it would be nice if other people watched it, but also, man, I wish I had something to like look back on from like a year ago, 2 years ago. Like I said, I've like using Noom has been really helpful. I have lost 60 pounds total, 30 pounds since I've
hey, congratulations.
Thank you. That's a toddler. That's a heavy toddler. That's a chubby toddler. That's a big dog. I've lost a big dog.
That big dog.
But so I've lost like 60 pounds, and I'm like, man, I wish I had more pictures, more videos, more content from when I was 60 pounds heavier, and now I'm like, okay, I have another pounds to go. Like, I hope that I can like look back on this and be like, oh, that's how I was feeling. That's what I was doing. That's what I was eating. I don't know.
That's a really good point. Like, yeah, I had those same thoughts of like years ago we talked about where it's just like with stand-up in general, it's hard to get good footage of you doing it. And then outside of that, two things immediately came to my mind is like, I've always struggled with, let's say I do like a great show with like a headliner I really admire, or like, you know, I'm with a whole crew of comics that I really enjoy. I never have photos of that, of like us together doing anything. And then, I don't have any, like I am trying to learn how to vlog because I want to document so that, in a year I could be like, man, remember when I did that thing or whatever? Because I have terrible memory. I have such bad memory. And so I don't even remember the things that I've done in general. And it's like, man, if I had footage of it, that'd be great.
Yeah. Which is so funny because like part of the reason why I'm like, I want to do this so bad is because you and I will be sitting and hanging out, and you'll just like randomly be like, oh, here's a Facebook memory from 15 years ago. This is what I was doing. Or like 2 years ago, I was on stage at this place in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm like, I don't have any of that. I don't have anything like that. And so it is funny to hear that you're like, man, I wish I made more things. And I'm like, man, I wish I made more things the way that Zach makes things.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I feel like I get lucky that I have a photo here or there or whatever. But yeah, it's like, you know,
but
like I just did this whole weekend. I have 2 photos. I was gone for an entire weekend, met tons of people. I have 2 photos. One of them is of a coffee.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was going to ask, how is the vlogging going? Is it something you like?
I don't know. Like, because I'm not really, right now, I think I'm really burned out on editing because these last 5 years, I've just been editing big projects, just one after another. And so I'm kind of burned out on editing. And then I haven't gotten into the focus of just always having the camera with me. Yeah. I bought like a little Pocket 2 camera, and I like it. It's really easy to use. It makes great footage, and I like how small it is, so people often don't even know that I'm holding a camera. It's no big deal. But I'm just like not in that yet. And like I used to be able to do that a lot more, like have a camera and film things like pretty consistently. So I know that I can train myself that way. But right now I'm just kind of wandering through life going, oh man, that's so fun. And not like, oh, I should also film this fun thing or have the camera with me at all times. Yeah. So
what's your thoughts on like, I feel like right now there's this thought of like, oh, if you have the camera, you're not in the moment. Do you feel like you're like really present right now and you want to be a little bit less present and behind the camera?
Yeah, I am very present right now. And that is new to me because I'm such an anxious person. So anxious people, not always present. We're always thinking about what if or what happened before or whatever. And yeah, I think in the last year I've become very present. So that's a good point. That is like probably part of the reason that I'm just kind of going through it right now. Like I'm just like going through the motions very present. And I'm not thinking, let me take a picture, let me get the footage, oh, this would be good content. I'm just not thinking that, which is one of the reasons why I bought the little camera, is because they have all these like attachments where you can attach it to a backpack. And I wanted something where I could just hit the record and it's just moving with me. And it's like not going to be the most cinematic or the best framed footage. But I think even just having that, or having to remember to push the button, I think that would lead me to then having the footage to later cut up.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, clip here, clip there, and add some voiceover and have a good little vlog.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just got to figure out what that is for me. And I know as soon as I figure it out, like, I'll be more consistent. I don't know if I'll post them. I'm still like hesitant, but like maybe they'll just live on a hard drive, and that's also okay. Like, I don't really care either way of if I need to post it, or I could just have it in a folder labeled vlogs.
Why not post it?
I don't know. I've been going through like a weird thing over the last few years of just like a hesitation with posting, where like I'll make a reel or a clip of my stand-up, and then I'll fill out the whole thing, and right before I hit post, I go, I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah, I'm like, why? Who cares?
Why me?
Is this what I want people to see of my stand-up? You know, it's different thoughts. And for one reason or another, sometimes I don't post it, sometimes I do. And the vlogs are kind of the same, where it's like, I want to have a document of my life. But I go, is this interesting? Is this something worth watching? Unsure yet. Yeah. So, and I think maybe if I make 5 of them, and then maybe I do feel like, oh, this is worth posting, or maybe I don't. But yeah, I don't know. I've been having like a weird disconnect with social media over the last few years. So, how's your relationship with social media lately?
I think not as complicated as yours.
Okay.
I like want to ask more questions about that.
Okay.
But like my relationship with social media, I've just like never, like I said, it's never really clicked.
Yeah.
And now I like want to start kind of documenting my life and trying out content creation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I have a different hesitation. Like, it's not necessarily like who's gonna watch it, but it's more of just like the logistics of it, like making a caption, doing the editing, finding the right sound to go with it, finding the right whatever. Yeah. It's all like just so overwhelming. And then like it's a lot of choices. And it like, that's what gives me anxiety. It's just like, man, this is going to be like and then in a different way than like, who cares? But it's just like, I post it and then, I don't know, 200 people watch it. And I'm like, man, all that for nothing. I did all that work. I did so much work. It took me so long to do. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, oh, and like, it's not really out there very much. Which I'm trying to take as a blessing, right? Like, it's nice. Yeah. It's nice to move in silence. It's nice to have a chance to practice on stuff while no one's really watching. Yeah. And then, when I blow up, when I have 10 million followers. Yes. When I have 8 billion followers.
Oh, yeah.
Then it'll be like, I'm doing great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I'm like trying to remember that like, it is really nice that nobody's watching, but it's just like, it just feels like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can go. And also on the other side of it, there's people that have figured out ways where it's not a lot of work, where they're posting 8 times a day, and sometimes the clips are 3 seconds long.
True.
And there's different levels, and they have a whole spreadsheet of like, oh, I post a 6-second thing, and then later I have a 30-second thing, and then I do what I eat in a day, and they just have like a routine, and they just have a system, and I'm like, I have no idea about any of that. And also with stand-up's a weird one too, because I feel like stand-up clips can get a lot of views, but that doesn't translate to followers or anything. It can have just like, you could have one pop off, and I've had friends where they have like 4 million views on a clip, and they have like 200 followers and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Well, I wonder if that's because it's like especially when it's like a clip of somebody like on stage, right? Like you can see the stage, you can see them, they're so distant versus like, so it's like, that's not even a person. Like, it's like I'm watching a TV show, right? I'm not going to like,
for sure,
as I'm watching Lost, go through and like find the actors and like follow them on Instagram, because it's like totally separate versus like, if it was you, like people, stand-ups that like we know will tell a joke on stage and be like, this worked well, let me put it on TikTok. Yeah. And then they'll do a TikTok like, I just thought of this thing. And then they'll just say it into the camera. And it's like, okay, now that's a person. And I can follow a person, right? Like Target posts TikToks all the time. I'm not following Target.
Yeah.
Unless they want to sponsor me. But like,
that's a really good point. I haven't really thought about how it's like, you could have a clip. Because I always think about where it's like the clip can be funny. That gets the views. But it doesn't always translate. I haven't really thought of like why always. That's interesting. So I don't know, with stand up it's like it's like either clips of my stand up or if it's clips of whatever. Like I'm about to go film something next month and I will post clips of that.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of how I've been treating it lately. It's just like when I do a thing that's polished, I'll post clips of the polished thing. But I haven't been like, here's an unpolished whatever that much in the last few years. Who knows? Maybe I will. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah, and then you also mentioned earlier today that you've taken clown classes. I wanted to make sure that we talked about that. I have to ask you about clown classes because, well, first off, not many people know, but my dad was a clown when I was growing up.
I know. I've known. And it's one of the things that inspired me.
Yeah, and you and my dad have talked about clown classes and his experience. So I want to know what made you decide to do clowning as classes, and then also why is clowning cool all of a sudden? These are the two questions I had to ask you.
The reason why I was interested in clowning, it was honestly just like, it was like deep pandemic. Okay. And I knew some people that were interested in clowns, and we had gone to the one of the Meow Wolves, my favorite places.
Yeah.
And they had like a clown room, and that was like, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then it was just deep pandemic, and I was like, all of these classes are online. Like all these like stand-up classes were online, all these acting classes were online, like mountain climbing classes online, like everyone had their class online. And I was like, I bet there are clown classes online. And then I like was like looking up clown classes, and it was the pandemic, so I couldn't afford them. But it like, then I was like, oh man, it would be really cool to take a clown class. And then I started talking to your dad, and your dad was telling me about his story of clown classes and like how he has trained at like, I believe Barnum and Bailey and like these really amazing places. And I was like, that sounds really fun. And then I like had just sort of slowly learned a little bit more about clowning in general. And I learned about like famous people that took clown classes. Like, who's that guy from Jackass? Can I swear on here? Does that count as a swear?
Yeah. Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah, right? Johnny Knoxville took clown classes. And he was a bad clown, supposedly, is
or
what
Steve-O.
I found out. No, I think it was Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, okay.
But I might be wrong.
It might be Steve-O.
It might be Steve-O. But one of them took clown classes, and I like saw a picture of their like clown graduation. And I was like, this is so cool. And then I was in New York, and I was working, my day job at the time was like working for this fashion company. And I was like, someone was like making fun of the idea of clown classes. And I was like, I don't know, guys, this sounds really cool. I think maybe I would take a clown class if I could. And then one of my coworkers was like, hey, that's that's not cool. But also I know people. They're like, don't keep talking about that. But also I know people that do clown classes.
Hey, if I give you this person's, will you stop talking about it at work? Will you stop?
This is not appropriate.
Yeah.
We're all cool.
Just
here.
get the clowning out, you know?
Find somewhere else to do this. And so they gave me some contact information for Tally that does clown classes at Tally Mandel that does clown classes at Brooklyn Comedy Collective. And so I took their class for the first time, and it was really, really great. And I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to be a clown? Am I going to be a clown? And so I like took some more classes with them. And it was just really, really cool. And why is clowning so cool now? I don't know. I heard that like Cam Kiernan got involved, and they were like, wow.
It changed the game.
It blew up. No, but I think that
it opened doors.
I think that it's just like a new. It's not like new, but it's like just another way to like set yourself apart.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's like, there's stand-ups that are doing it, there's improvisers doing it, and I think it's just like people recognizing that there's like other things for sure.
Yeah.
It's just opening up that like what else can I do?
Yeah, it's like stretching a new muscle, and like we've talked a little bit about how alt comedy is really big.
Mm-hmm.
And now that like alt comedy has become kind of mainstream comedy, now it's like, okay, well, what's the alt comedy?
Yeah.
And it's like, so for some people, that's what's the one that's not funny? It's like anti-comedy or something.
Oh, yeah. There's like anti-comedy.
It's like funny because it's not funny.
Yeah. Which is,
or I don't get it. Or
which
maybe.
I'm like not. I might be old. I'm like, oh, this isn't comedy, and they're like, yeah.
They're like, this is amazing. Yeah.
That's why we love it, Zach. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it's not funny, and maybe I'm like, I don't get it, and so that's why it's, I don't know. But there's like that, there's like clowning, there's just like all of these other things that are kind of popping up to be like extra, to be like out of the norm, and like
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that is a good point, that it's like alt has really, it's so weird to me, because like when I started, it's like you're a club comic or you're an alt comic, and we all hate each other, it's like it really was like that vibe, and now it's like everyone's doing alt, and some of the biggest things are what used to be like alt comedy. Like Don't Tell doing their shows is like alt comedy to the max, but now people are getting Don't Tell specials.
Yeah.
And it's like you can have a Don't Tell that blows up on YouTube and it changes your career. What, like, we're in this new way, like, yeah, so that does make sense, where it's like, where do I go next would be like clowning, and bringing that side of the art form back in, versus, it used to be around more. That's great. I mean, thank you so much for doing the podcast. I appreciate you, and this has been such a fun talk. Where can people find you online?
Thank you so much for having me. My Instagram is at Cam Kiernan. And then my TikTok that I'm starting is at Spam Kiernan. And it's kind of just like, I'm just kind of putting whatever out there. So I'm like, let's keep this a little bit separate for the moment. But if you want to follow me there, it's a lot of what I eat in a day, and a lot of like, I think I'm going to go to the gym today. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Great. Well, thanks for being on the show, and all that will be in the show notes for people to follow. I've been your host, Zack Lyman. This has been the Zack Lyman Podcast, and outro music.
Outro music.
Thank you.